Hello, very good afternoon to our official podcast at Untirta. We call it The Humasin, that's our program. And this is a very, special day because we have colleagues from Queen's University Belfast, far away, flying to Indonesia. And now he's here with us. Very good afternoon, Prof. Daniel Muijs. Yeah? Very good afternoon.
Yeah, that's good.
Thank you for visiting us.
Pleasure.
And thank you for the, very impressive guest lecture program this morning. So great.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have a lot of questions actually about Queen's, but because, time barriers and so on, we'll probably have a talk on Queen's in general, like the PhD programs at Queen's, and if you would also share with us your research focus.
Of course.
So, like to invite lecturers to join you as your PhD students, that would be
okay.
lovely. All right, so if you could introduce yourself a bit.
Okay, so my name is Professor Daniel Muijs, and I am Professor of Education at Queen's University Belfast. I'm also Head of the School of Social Sciences, Education and Social Work. I've worked as a professor in the field of education for quite a while, and I've worked in universities in England, in Belgium and in the Netherlands, and also for a while for the English School Inspectorate. So my research interests are in the area of educational effectiveness. So I like to look at what makes teachers better teachers, what makes schools more effective schools, and that is to do with pedagogy, but also with curriculum, with metacognition, with leadership. So that's kind of what I am interested in. Quite broad, as you can hear, because I've done quite a lot of different projects in different areas as well.
That's great. Right, okay. School of Social Sciences, Education and Social Work, so that's quite long. Maybe you have some, information for us about like areas of research that are quite exceptional, that are different from other schools of educations in other universities in the UK. If you could share with us so we can know about those?
Yeah, absolutely. So, like you say, our school is broad and we do sociology, we do criminology, we do social work, we do social policy, but I'm going to talk a bit more about the education side of things. So, first thing to say is that our education research is very highly valued. We are in the top 200 of the QS rankings for education. We are in the top 20 of the UK rankings for research. So we have a very strong research program. There are a number of particularly interesting areas in our school. So one of the areas that we are very well known for is children's rights. How do we make sure that we hear the voice of children, get them involved in decision making, and value children as full members of our society? And our professor Laura Lundy has actually developed the frameworks that UNESCO is using in terms of pupil voice and children's rights, etc. Another area that we are very strong on is collaboration and shared education. So schools working together. One of the things that we do a lot of work on is how can we get schools from different communities to work together, because in Northern Ireland we have a bit of a history of strife between the different communities, so we have worked very hard to make sure that they come together, and also then we use that in other parts of the world where similarly there may be tensions between communities, etc. Even recently we have been asked to do that work in the United States, so that is telling you how far that goes. TESOL and applied linguistics is another area of strength for us. We have a strong Centre for Language Education Research who do a variety of different pieces of work around linguistics, around languages, but also around equity in relation to gender, in relation to minority languages, and so on. Also, we are very strong in systematic reviews of literature as well. with Professor Sarah Miller, for example, who does a lot of work on that. So we have actually got quite a lot of areas of study, I would say.
That's perfect. So I think there are more and more young lecturers from us to think of QB as the destinations of the PhD study in the future. What about the PhD profiles? You might have information about the number of PhD students coming from the other countries out of the UK who are now at the schools or who are now at Queen's. Where are they mostly coming from? Are they coming from, for example, mostly Southeast Asia, or maybe other parts that are mostly coming to QB especially?
Okay, so firstly, we do have a large PhD program, so we have a strong cohort of PhD students at QUB and in our education area in particular. And they come from a range of different countries. Obviously, we have what we call our home students from Northern Ireland, from Ireland, from England, but we also have many international students, and they come from a range of countries. One of those is Indonesia. Yes, indeed. So we have had quite a few students coming from Indonesia. Wow. You could say we have almost a little Indonesian community in there. But we, of course, also have students from, for example, Pakistan, from India, from the United States. We have quite a few students as well. So it's quite broad. We also get some students from Africa. So it's an international profile, I would say.
Right, so
Belfast is reflective of the university as a whole.
Right, so Belfast is kind of melting pot in the UK. I don't know if you would agree, because there are more.
Yeah, I mean, certainly it's an international profile. When you walk around the area, around the university, you can find Asian supermarket, Turkish supermarket, Korean food places. So it's quite diverse, I would say.
Right. So, any suggestions, any advice for those who are really interested in joining PhD at Queen's in general, or at schools of social science education and social work in particular?
Yeah, so the first thing I would say is, if you are interested, have a look at our list of supervisors and see if there are people that you say, oh, that's a person whose research really is interesting and fits with me, and send them an email, get in touch with them and say, I'm interested in doing a PhD at Queen's, this is the research topic I'm interested in, would you be interested in working with me on that? Send maybe a draft proposal, maybe a CV, and that is always a good thing to do. If you look on our website, there are a couple of things you can look at. There is, on the main website, you can search a supervisor, so you can type in a topic and then you will get a list of the supervisors. On our school webpage, you can find a list of all our academic staff and our research interests, and it will also tell you whether people are still available to supervise PhDs, because of course there is a limit how many people we supervise, because we want you to have a positive experience, and if you have a supervisor who is supporting 20 people, then you will not get good support, you will not get the one-to-one mentoring that you need. So we do limit our number of students per supervisor for that reason.
Right. This might be the last question. Is there any hybrid PhD program? Because some colleagues are asking, is there any hybrid PhD programs in the UK? And at Queen's, is there any PhD program hybrid? So
what we find in many cases when we work with our international students is that this is normal. You want to do your topic in your own country. So you are looking at doing a piece of research where you are collecting data, maybe here at the university, maybe in local schools. And that's absolutely fine, because what we then do is, you do need to come to Queen's, because we do want to work with you personally and have that personal connection, but you can go back to Indonesia to collect your data and spend time doing that. So in that respect, yes, there is the possibility of not spending all your time in Belfast.
That's great. Okay, so thank you very much. Thank you.
you.
As part of the closing, is there any other things you would like to say?
I would just say that we very much welcome any applications from Indonesia. We have good experience with our Indonesian students and our students. We have even good experience with our students from Tita. We are always happy to see more of you.
Right, thank you so much, thank you. And out of the closing, let's say Untirta Jawara, okay? Can you say that?
Untirta Jawara.
All right, so 1, 2, 3, Untirta Jawara. Thank you, Daniel, thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Thank you, thank you. Great, yay!
Rumah sih